Now, you guys might have not heard about this clip that we're going to be showing you, but Steve Harvey,
Uncle Steve,
Harvey, Pastor Steve, Prophet Steve, decided to speak on you have not because you ask not. Y'all know that's in James 4:2. And we're just going to go ahead and let y'all see it.
Yeah, check it out.
You have not because you ask not. Uh-oh, listen to me. I can't even tell you how big that is. Look at me. This is the coldest thing I'm going to tell you today. You have not because you ask not. It's that simple. Most people don't have the life of their dreams because you ain't never asked God, could you have it? You've been trying to do it yourself. You've been trying to figure it out for yourself. How that's been working out for you. Kind of crazy, ain't it? I just told you earlier you can't figure it out. Ain't no scripture nowhere tell you to figure it out. What you trying to figure your life out for? It ain't yours. You ain't make it. You ain't the creator. You ain't got nothing to do with tomorrow. You can't change the past. So what you tripping with your life for? You have not because you ask not. Y'all ain't never asked God, could you be rich? Most people ain't rich today because you ain't never asked God, could you be
Man.
So I think if you watch that just for what it is, you're like, okay. But like for me, common sense kicked in. It's like, no, Steve,
Man,
I done asked God. I done asked God for a lot of stuff.
Begging and pleading.
I've been begging God, can I be filthy rich? God,
since
can
I was
my
young,
skin be perfect? I want hair down to my behind. I just He said you don't have it because you haven't. Yes, we have. We asked.
Man, I asked.
We asked God.
Come on, man.
What do you mean? You know how many people have begged the Lord for things that they just will maybe never ever see. And so we know, just reading our word, we know that this was taken out of context. And then we'll get later into this whole manifestation move that is happening right now. But
have y'all asked for something that y'all haven't received yet?
Please let us know.
Please let us know. Let us know in the comments.
Prophet Steve said all you got to do is ask. He said you ain't rich because you ain't asked.
Tell me if y'all got 100% conversion on everything that you asked for. If you got that, I really want to know about it. Drop that down in the comments.
So we know that was out of context. So what the scripture actually says is you want what you don't have. So you scheme and you kill to get it. This is James 4:2. You are jealous of what others have, but you can't get it. So you fight and you wage war to take it away from them. Yet you don't have what you want because you don't ask God for it. That's what he read. But it continues on and says, and even when you ask, you don't get it because your motives are all wrong. You want only what will give you pleasure. So it's not, you're not asking. It's because sometimes our hearts are not in the right place. A lot of times we're asking for things because we want to stunt on our haters. We want to stunt on our exes.
I had some stunt on my haters' prayers.
My gosh.
Thank
I said,
God he didn't
I can't
give it to me.
wait till they see. I can't wait.
I would have blew up all that money.
Oh my goodness. And the Lord, and other, even when you read further into James, it talks about his protection, like, and not giving us those things because we'll destroy ourselves. Y'all know how many people are filthy rich and completely making a mess out of it. Like we can name drop for real. And so the Lord, being a loving father, will not give us things that will have us not depending on the Lord.
Really?
Because what if you did have everything that you ever wanted? Ooh. Do you need God?
Come on.
I mean, like, do you need God? I'm rich. I got the perfect family, the perfect
And God
situations.
is not like a little genie. Like you just go to him and you just like, he makes it all just come and he's like, this is what I need. Nah, like, one thing I always tell you about, babe, is like, I'm grateful to God that, I got things in bits and pieces.
Oh, yes.
I remember being in like my mid or early 20s. And I remember being self-employed at this time. And it was me and some guys in the office. And we were talking about just like, we were thinking, we knew other mentors that were around us that were making like big time money. So we would sit around and we would talk about, man, when I pull up to the club, this is what I'm doing. When I go, I'm going to have this much of the bottles. This is the type of car that I'm about to do, man. Give me about a year next year. This is what I'm doing and all that. Like, right? Like, these are the things that we really wanted.
Yep.
And I can't even believe it. Like, and now I think about it, if God would have gave me these things at that time,
Jesus.
I would have totally messed it up. Like, literally just totally messed it up. And one thing I told you is that God has given me my successes in bits and pieces. It has always come along with my maturity. Like, and I believe that that's a lot of times what he does. A loving parent don't just give everything. We don't just give it all.
Yeah.
You know, we got to make sure that you can appreciate it.
Yep.
Right now, to this day now, I appreciate just I wake up in the morning like, thank you for this roof. Thank you for the neighborhood I live in and all those different things, because I remember some different places that I lived and all those things. So he works on that heart first. A lot of times,
before you get in that big house,
before you get into that big house, before you get that car, before you start making
Jesus.
But no, really, I'm so grateful that God only gives it on his timing and not mine. Because I straight up would have messed it up, destroyed it. I think about it, and sometimes I have a lot of grace for a lot of entertainers who get all these things so early. You understand? I watch these entertainers, you know, come from like, you know, young dudes, like having to watch a Chris Brown or something go through the things that he went through. Like he's basically been in the industry since before he was even 18. Yeah. You understand? And to get all these things so quick. Yep. And then watch him go through what he had to go through with the Rihanna situation and all the other little allegations and things of that sort. I'm like, man, I have grace on those guys because I would have been that same guy. You understand? Had they put cameras on me at that young of an age, these football players, these NBA players who get this money so quickly, we see it day in and day out.
And we can't be so judgmental. Because you're saying it right now. Like if the cameras followed you around when you were doing your like we go so hard on people, and I'm even myself like very judgmental at a point in my life. Like, I wouldn't no, wait a minute. Let me go back. Let me self-examine. What was I doing at 17, 18? Oh yeah, cameras, thank God they weren't there. And so we're seeing the live and effect of what our lives really, what they really look like. Yeah. Really. I wanted to say, I was reading James 4 and I was reading the commentary, and it gave just a very practical example. And it talked about if your kid begged you for the keys to the car, they wanted to go down the street. Would you give them the keys? Just because they asked.
I use this analogy all the time with my teenage daughter. Yeah.
It's like, no, baby, you don't have your life. You got to go test. You got to do, it's a lot of things that you got to, so that's the same as far as spiritually. We don't see it. So we think this is just what we, but spiritually, like Babe was saying, like it was certain things that you and I had to go through, some experiences, some lessons we had. Then the Lord was like, now your heart is where I need it to be, because when I give you this money, I don't need you to go blow it on a new purse or a new weave or a new whatever. I need you to give back. I need you to bless this person. When I bless you, the thing about God is when he blesses us, he has someone else in mind. So he's blessing us to bless someone else. So I know you're not going to bless them if your heart is not where it's
supposed to. Because you're going to think about only you.
Because it's not about you. And I was just reading other scriptures speaking about, you know, harvest and gaining and prosperity. All of them are connected to working. Psalms 128, you will enjoy the fruit of your labor. Psalms 90:20, and the Lord will show his approval through your efforts. He will make your efforts successful. Then it talks about Proverbs 21:25. Despite their desires, they're lazy. The lazy will come to ruin, for their hands refuse to work. Proverbs 14:23. Works brings profit, but mere talk leads to poverty. So it continuously speaks about working.
And so that's the part that Uncle Steve, who
he missed it.
I'm a crazy fan of Uncle Steve. He has an interview with Kurt Franklin that's just dope. I mean, I love his, like, he don't stay in that box. Like he say exactly what's on his mind, on his heart. Whenever I want to get in that mind frame, I don't need to think, I don't need to care about what people think and all those type of things. I listen to something that Steve Harvey say. He don't care. You can go ahead and do what you want to do. You know,
but everybody shouldn't be preaching the word.
Yeah, no. That's the part. And the thing that he left out, if you go and look at a lot of his interviews, if you go and listen to a lot of his story, He left out the part you just talked about, babe, which is work.
He worked his butt off.
He put his work in
his butt off
while he was in that car living.
And that's the issue that I have with manifestation. That's the issue that I have with this new era. And in transparency, I dug deep into it. I got a book. I wanted to read about the law. What is it? The law of attraction, the universal law of attraction. And it talks about like setting your intentions and keeping your mind. And these things are biblical. So a man thinketh, so is he. You know, so we know these things are biblical, but you cannot just think about what you want and just say what you want and not, it doesn't work that way. Just like a farmer, if a farmer sat in his field and sat in the middle and say, you know, I'm gonna just think about sunflowers growing. Just think about a man just crisscross applesauce. I'm gonna think about corn growing. No, he gotta plant his seeds. He gotta go out the next day and whatever the gardening process is, there's a work that has to be put into it and intentions that have to be put into it. So y'all don't run with this stuff, man. Like, I don't think there's nothing wrong, because you know, you have the Christians who say, oh, that's demonic. You can't speak those. Like, no, you do need to speak those things. You do. So a man thinketh, so is he. Like, yes, you have to believe. You have to change your mindset. You have to get around people who have intentions like you, and that is true. So that's not demonic. What becomes wrong and what is not scripture and what is not biblical and what is just straight lazy is when you just think you're going to think things to pass. And when you think you're just going to ask things to pass. That's not the way that God works. He loves us way, 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 way too much to just be giving us stuff simply because we ask for it.
This is an Iwebu production.
Period.